This is the path of my destiny. Come on, let's turn up the heat.
You got him! Puzzle Fighter!
Hello, welcome. We're in Capcom Vancouver. It is hard to see out the window because it is gray and foggy and raining. But I am Jeffery Simpson. I'm the community manager here at Capcom Vancouver. Normally I'm playing Dead Rising, but today is launch day for Puzzle Fighter. So we're going to be playing some Puzzle Fighter. And I have here Alijah, who is the lead designer on the game.
Hi, guys.
We're going to be playing a little bit. Actually, we've already played, but we're going to be talking about it rather than try and play and talk at the same time, which if you've seen me play Dead Rising, you know is not as easy as it looks. But we're here. We're going to be in the Twitch chat a bit, answering questions if you have some. We've got it right up here. Hello to Superboy 640.
Hey, Superboy 6400.
6400 then. The text is so small, it's about like 4 feet away from me. But here we are. We're at Capcom and in Vancouver. The game just went live globally today. How do you feel?
We're really excited.
Yeah.
We're happy to see all the new players coming in from all over. A lot of new competition. So yeah, we're happy to see how the rest of the world likes Puzzle Fighter.
Yeah, it's been a soft launch for a couple of months now in 6 countries: Australia, Canada, Mexico, Singapore, Malaysia, and Hong Kong. And so we've been playing with those players. We're here, obviously, in Canada, so we've all had it. We've tried to get our friends on.
Yeah.
But now the whole world, America, the UK, Europe, everywhere, you can play. So welcome to the game. Download it now. But we're going to kind of comment on some of the games we were playing earlier. Alijah played a bit first. I played a bit later. You can see the 2 levels, the differences between us in terms of gameplay. So let's hop in here and bring this up. Here we go. This is your team here. You're rocking the red team.
That's right. I mean, with the new changes to the Affinity system, really you can play combinations of any characters. But with the M Bison setup, I chose to go for an all-red team, and the reason for that is because by mixing colors, I'm not really going to be able to get mileage out of those other colors.
Bow down before my psycho power.
Because I'm only going to be building basically one big fat power gem this entire game, because that's Bison's whole gimmick. So yeah, I'll be commenting a little bit on sort of how I played against this player here.
And we're against a Hager. What do you look for when you're fighting against
Well, if you see in his drop pattern, he's going to be dropping red gems in the far right columns. So actually, if I drop my red gems into my drop lane, then he's naturally going to be sending me red gems into the far lane from the right. Like you can see, he's doing that already, right? So by utilizing Hagar's drop pattern, I'm going to be able to build a big red gem which matches my team's Affinity colors as well. So when it breaks, I'll probably be able to take him for half health as well as charge my super most of the way.
One thing I noticed watching you play, and I've noticed this watching you as well, you're very fast. You drop quickly.
A big part of Puzzle Fighter is knowing what types of gems are going to be good for your character, and then building and breaking those gems with that being your sole focus. So with Bison, that triggered all of my abilities when I took that big single Bison red gem, and I was able to actually
despair.
I'll also just disclose here that Hagar's a pretty good matchup for M Bison because he drops those red power gems on the right side. So that's a pretty lucky matchup for me, to be honest.
All right. You're in the E-Honda shop. This is how people get new stuff. One of the ways, actually. There's a few different ways. But when you win a game against another player, you get to spin the wheel, pick stuff off the sushi boats.
Yeah.
And That's how you level up characters, get new characters, costumes, things like that.
Chef Honda.
Every character in the game, we've got a bunch of Capcom heroes, Capcom classic characters. They all have 2 outfits, kind of their default one, and then kind of an alternate one. For example, Frank West, you've got classic Frank in his leather jacket, got the camera, and then he's got the newer Dead Rising 4 version of Frank, and kind of the more canvas jacket and shorter hair.
For Jill, our most recent character, we've also got the classic Resident Evil skin for her as well. So if the Resident Evil 6 Jill is not your thing, there's lots of different alternatives for you, lots of different alternate colors as well.
Sexy
Bow
Ryu,
down
that's
before my psycho
fan favorite
power.
as well.
Yeah?
Or Hot Ryu. Is it Hot,
Come
Hot
on,
Ryu?
let's
Sorry.
turn up the heat.
It's
need to-
official, unofficial.
Yeah, I need to get the title right. Hot Ryu.
That's right. A fan favorite. So here's a match I played against Cows. I played against this player quite a bit online. Very skilled player. Tends to use red teams just like me. To be honest, another lucky matchup. The entire bottom row of Ken's draw pattern is actually all red, just as it was in the original Puzzle Fighter, for those of you who played that. So by utilizing that, I'm going to be able to build just a disgustingly big red power gem, and hopefully blow it up before he drops millions of gems on me and makes me overstack or something. But here I'm already well on my way to building that.
So you really look forward to that game against Dan.
I do, yeah. Though I do find Dan to be deceptively powerful if he's used right. I got that. I call that a time bomb. If you have a crash gem that's about to explode next to a furry counter gem, you know it's going to help you soon enough. And actually, I was lucky enough to retaliate quite enough that I actually overstacked him. So it's very lucky. If you look at the mini-map on the right side of my screen, you can actually see Cow's board. Sorry, him or her. Yeah, and I was actually able to overstack Cow pretty easily that way. Again, a very lucky matchup for N Bison. He's very strong in the current meta, but like I mentioned earlier, he is an all-in type of character. You have to build those big gems. If you build them, you can be very successful. If you don't build them, the game is forfeit.
One nice thing about the soft launch period is we've gotten to know some of the higher level players in the game, like Cows, like Jinrei, whether we're saying that properly. Kind of the top tier players. Jinrai.
Yeah.
How do you match up against them? You've got the advantage of knowing the ins and outs of the game, but clearly they've got experience with Puzzle Fighter. A lot of them.
A lot of these really dedicated, enthusiastic players out there in the community, they're more skilled than me. I mean, I have time on my side. You know, we spend so much of our day here in the development team playing this game and learning it, understanding it, so that we can make better design decisions. But our players, they have like a natural skill and talent that we here in the dev team can't really rival. So a lot of the time we're actually leaning on you guys, the community, to kind of show us the meta.
One thing, we were both at New York Comic Con together, and just to go back to the game that's going on here against Cows again. He's switched Bison against Bison.
That's right.
Here you see 2 different costumes as well, so this is an example of kind of different outfits we get in game. But we were both at New York Comic Con. This was before it launched in the States, obviously, because that's just today. But it was really cool to see all these kind of old school Puzzle Fighter players who stopped by the booth, picked it up. You know, first game maybe they were a little shaky, kind of adapting to touch controls. But you know, within 2 or 3 games, they were certainly beating me, or at least challenging me. So it's going to be really fun to see what the Cows here.
Yeah, shoutouts to Cows, because that was a really well played game. Just totally overwhelmed me, and I wasn't able to recover from that. That's sort of what I mentioned earlier with Bison. If you don't build those really big gems, it's going to be really hard to recover in the late game. So yeah, good game there. Really nice plays.
People are saying game volume is too loud. All right,
Oh yeah.
we're going to adjust the game volume as we go here. Let us notch it down a little bit. So game volume hopefully will have been adjusted for you.
Bow down before my psycho power.
So thank you in the chat for pointing that out.
Do you wrestle?
Here we're against Subgolf. And this is another matchup against Hager. Do you find certain characters are kind of most used at the higher levels?
I think it really depends. We found that the meta evolves really fast, and we've seen a lot of changes almost weekly.
Yeah.
Like when we initially soft launched this game, Chun-Li was very dominant in the meta. You know, almost every second game seemed to be against a Chun-Li, but since we've had more time to sort of iterate on the character designs, we've seen a lot more dynamics between people changing their teams. Also, there are just a lot of new strategies that came about as a result of Affinity 2.0. So, yeah, for these characters in the top bracket, I'd say right now, X is pretty common. Very squishy, high damage character. A lot of great damage potential, and then Hagar, again, another common pick just because of his endurance, his tankiness, his damage, and his low skill conditions for the pipes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've definitely seen a move away from Chun-Li. She was definitely first couple of weeks at soft launch. It was Chun-Li all the time, which was handy because I've built up. I'm pretty good at countering Chun-Li now, just basically from having faced her so much. A little video slow down there, and here we go into another game.
I actually think this is where we traded off, so I think we're going to be watching Jeffery play for a little bit.
All right, excellent. We will switch actually to the chat, see if people have some questions. So yeah, so if you have questions, we'll take a look at the chat right now. This game looks fun. It is. I'm really enjoying the game, and it's cool to play a game which I can pick up, I can play for 5, 10, 20 minutes at a time, put down, go do something else. Dead Rising 4, love it, but it's a sit down. I'm gonna put an hour or 2 hours into this. How do I get assists?
I can answer that.
Sure.
So you're going to unlock your assist characters after you play a certain amount of matches when you first start the game. So after you play 10 matches, you're going to unlock your assist characters. Those don't have to be wins, just wins or loses. Just play the game, and you'll unlock your characters over time. How do you use your assist characters? Your assist characters automatically come out and combo with your main character when they do a skill. So the assist character on your left combos with your character's skill on the left. Your assist character on the right combos with your main character's skill on the right. So if you do something that triggers both of your main character's skills, you're going to see a combo from both your assist characters as well.
What's the launch bonus that I hinted at in a tweet? So if you pre-registered, you would have gotten an email today, and that had a link to some wallpapers that we had the art team make. I believe it was 4 wallpapers of different characters that you can download. Am I seeing the missions reset twice in a day now?
Yes.
So missions are, if you haven't played, the kind of a single-player PvE game where you go in, you fight the PC, and initially it was 3 missions a day, and that was it. And now, what was behind the change?
We just wanted to give players who like the PvE content more to do in a day.
Yeah.
The reason that missions are limited to begin with is because we really do want everybody to feel compelled to play PvP, since that's really what the heart of Puzzle Fighter is PvP. But for those of you who enjoy playing PvE, yes, it is available for twice the amount now. It resets every 12 hours. You'll get 3 new missions.
All right. Just played it. Seems great so far. That's good to hear. People have had a couple hours with the game now worldwide, so we're taking feedback in. If you stop by our Twitter, our Facebook, or the forums, definitely places where you can tell us what you think, ask questions. But yeah, let us go into the next batch of games. So this is me. We're going to be watching. I'm not as good as Elijah. So Elijah, you're Ultra Gold.
Currently, yeah.
So that is the highest level that we have in the game so far in terms of leagues. I am between Super Silver and Ultra Silver, which is sort of mid tiers. So I'm not as good, but I use Chuck Green. He's a yellow affinity character, and as I mentioned, I'm quite a bit slower at the game. So here we're up against X, and yeah, this was not a good matchup for me.
No, this is a really rough matchup for Chuck, because if you saw on X's drop pattern there, he's only going to be dropping greens and blues in the bottom lanes, and because of his affinity color, Jeffrey's basically trying to build yellow. So as soon as X breaks gems and sends those timer gems over, they're going to be all the wrong colors, and it's going to make Jeffrey's life really difficult. So it looks like despite that, he's going to go for the yellows anyways, because if he's able to play fast enough, he can probably build his skills before X sends anything over.
I'm much too deliberate in where I'm putting things, I think.
I mean, yeah, there's a lot of different ways to play the game, but what some of you will find is, you know, sometimes you just want to focus on that particular gem that you know you need to build, and in Jeffrey's case, I think you were running a 3x2 and I think a 3x2 yellow would be your ideal gem that you want to build and break. So if he's actually able to diamond a green, he can put that yellow back together. Perfect. That's exactly what he wants to do. Now when he breaks that, he's gonna trigger a whole bunch of good stuff.
Now the question is whether I can break it in time, and I don't believe I managed to this game. This one, yeah.
No, you're still in it.
Oh, I'm still in it.
Yeah. For those of you who are very new to the game, you'll see each character has a health bar underneath. Both of them are near half health right now, X having a bit of an advantage. But do keep in mind, X is a very squishy character, so you're starting to see the consequence of that right now as Jeffrey triggers his first big skill.
The other nice thing is Chuck is able to heal, so I was able to drink some root beer and level up.
Notice the bars that are filling underneath the health bars too. Those are the supers, so Jeffrey's really close. And X really doesn't have the endurance to survive a super from Chuck right now. So all Jeffrey has to do is break a few more gems, charge that super. There it is. Burning Skull, one of the damage over time supers, so it's going to do an initial burst of damage and then do consecutive damage for each turn that X takes. So X might actually, he actually he died to the burn there as a result of the DOT from Chuck's super.
How much of supers and drop, actually let's start with drop patterns. How much of the drop patterns came from the original, either the arcade or the console game, and how much of it did you and the design team come up with here? Right,
so Peter, one of our principal designers, he's actually the one who designed the drop patterns for this version of Puzzle Fighter. Obviously, we looked to the original Super Puzzle Fighter 2 Turbo as a benchmark for what these drop patterns could be. You'll see a lot of those drop patterns maintained in characters like Ken, as an example, or Dan, a fan favorite. But because we have more parameters to play with this time in the design, like all these stats and skills, we're able to counterbalance those particularly good or bad drop patterns from the original to make the character more well-rounded. So you will see some modifications to some of those original drop patterns, like in characters like, for example, Chun-Li. But you'll see for the most part that they are maintained for the characters that have revisited the game this time around.
Yeah. And here we go. I am matching against Mega Man. I believe it's the same player. I forgot to make a note of it.
Another rough matchup.
Sorry, it's X, not Mega Man.
Yeah.
Here we go. Yeah, this one I believe did not go as well for me.
So for those of you wondering, like, well, doesn't the higher level character just win? That is not really the case. We're seeing that skill is going to be the primary factor in determining the winner, like, until your levels hit a disparity of, like, 3 or 4, in which case character level becomes much more significant. But one thing to keep in mind is the stats per level that change for your characters. They're not going to be the game. They're not going to be the game deciding difference. You're still going to be able to defeat characters that are levels above you if you have the skill. That said, they are going to have a bit of an inherent advantage. If it comes down to that last, pixel of health, then you might see that level come in handy. Here you can see Jeffery. He's got a few things that could turn into some pretty big skills, but he's also got a lot of gems in his drop lane, so he could actually overstack if X is to make a big break. So yeah, at this point, I'd recommend try to keep your drop column clear and just be careful of those potential overstacks.
Yeah, I don't believe I got far enough to overstack. Right now, I'm hoping for a green crash orb, and that is not showing up for me. Here we go.
Oh, just the slightest bit too late.
Had I managed to get that, I would have gotten some health back. I would have done a lot of damage. Yeah, that was a heartbreaking loss.
If you like to play an aggressive play style, X is definitely a good candidate for your main character. He has really easy skill conditions, except for his homing torpedo. But his common and his rare skills, they're very easy to trigger. 2x2, 2x3. Those skills will be easy for you to do at a very high frequency. The trade-off obviously being slightly lower damage because you get to use your skills more often. But if you like to play aggressively, then X is a great character. He can really turn a whole board of gems into just pure damage.
One thing we haven't really touched on. Chun-Li. I enjoy fighting against Chun-Li. She drops a lot of yellow columns, which gives me flexibility as a Chuck player.
Yes.
One thing we haven't really touched on is that Puzzle Fighter is definitely a different game for us here at the studio. We've always done kind of the big console games. The game comes out, we do some DLC, maybe we do some updates as we're doing for Dead Rising 4. But this is kind of a live game in that we're going to be constantly working on it as it goes forward. So we've already released what we've called 2.0, which is added a bunch of features like colorblind mode. And we've got more stuff going on. We can't really talk about it yet, but how are we judging what we're going to be doing in the future? How do we decide that?
In terms of like the design of the game, or
yeah, in terms of
yeah, well, it's a combination of things. One of the most important, obviously, being the feedback from the community. We also look at trends in most played characters with particularly high win rates. We look into why is that happening. Is this character still balanced? Is it just going to take more time for us to figure out the meta or the counter to this character? We take a very I guess. We really take a step back from everything, and we try to channel in all the feedback coming from the community, coming from our own expertise and knowledge of the game, and we're going to try to balance things accordingly based on that.
Yeah. And that's one of the great things we've seen during soft launches. We've had a lot of stuff. Colorblind mode, for example, was something that we kind of had on a list of stuff we'd like to do, but we saw people asking again and again and again saying, hey, I really would love to play this game, but I just can't differentiate between the colors well enough to be good at it. Mm-hmm. And we saw it so much that we prioritized it. We moved it up the list, and we were able to get it out for global launch.
Yeah.
And I actually did not notice if I won that or not. I think I did, and I think that that video is over. So there we go. We're switching. Let's check the chat, see if there's any last questions. This one we kept a bit short. We're ironing out some kinks. For example, playing live is something we'd like to be able to do, but we couldn't get playing live and audio. That's not a factor for the game. It's a factor of we haven't been streaming off of mobile devices here at the studio before, and we were able to get the video but not the audio, which I thought would be a bit weird.
Just to confirm, for that one person who mentioned there's a hot Ryu costume, there 100% is a hot Ryu costume, yes.
Yeah.
So you heard it here.
I mistakenly called it Sexy Ryu, but it is Hot Ryu. Yeah, that is definitely in the game.
Yeah.
And a lot of different costumes. We're taking suggestions. One thing we'd love to see people suggest or request is what characters they'd love to see. We've got pretty much the entire Capcom universe of characters open to us.
Yeah. For that question there on what are the chances of Donovan coming back, we can't speak to specifics of characters, but for those of you who've been with us through the soft launch, you've seen us releasing new characters, new content, so just stay tuned.
Yeah, so who have we brought out during the soft launch?
Blanca, Dante, Jill Valentine.
Yeah, those were the three. So within a couple of months, we've had 3 new characters, and we're going to be continually releasing new ones as we design them and as we roll them out. We've got a number of them very close to being ready. So it's just a case of releasing them when the time's right. Mm-hmm. We're not going to tell you who. We've teased a few.
Yeah.
If you check back on social media, some of them may have shown up in screenshots. Yeah. If you go into the character select, you might see a silhouette of somebody.
Yeah. Just scroll to the far right of the list, and you'll see a silhouette of an upcoming character.
Yeah. Then they will be out. He or she will be out soon.
Yeah.
Anything you would like to say? It's
I'll just
launch
answer
day.
that one question on when is the release date. Oh, you just answered it. So we are worldwide today. This game is released. It is out there. Download it on Android or iOS.
Search Puzzle Fighter in your App Store, Google Play Store as well. If I've seen a few people reporting on Twitter that they can't find it. It might take a little bit to show up in searches, but if you go to our Twitter account, it's at puzzle_fighter. Yeah. There's a link there. You just click it. Whatever device you're on, it'll open the appropriate store to the right page. It is out. It's out today. Yeah. Right now, we were playing against people around the world. Very excited. So our intention is to do these more regularly, to get the dev team coming in here, to get more people involved. Thank you for tuning in, and thank you, Elijah, for joining me today. I know
thanks for having me.
You're busy.
Been totally fun to play against our top players out there. I'm looking forward to seeing more of you climb the leaderboards and join us at the top.
To talk to us on the forums at puzzlefighter.com. There's links there to everything, our Twitter page, our Facebook page, and the Puzzle Fighter forums, where you can talk about the game with other fans, get strategies. Mm-hmm. We've got a guide going up tomorrow. We've got a video guide you and Peter recorded with some top tips that we're going to be publicizing tomorrow as well. So
so if you were one of our newer players tuning into the stream and you were just like, what are these guys talking about? So we're going to be releasing a more like gameplay fundamentals oriented video. So stay tuned for that. If you're new, just getting into the game, it's going to help out big time.
Yeah, this, we started off fairly high level, just kind of assuming people who were playing kind of knew what we were doing, but definitely check it out. There's also a really great Reddit community that's got some guides up in terms of specific character strategies and drop patterns, things like that, that the fans have already made.
Yeah.
Just checking the last couple things. It is saying my name is Community Manager. Some days it feels like that. That is who I am. I do not know why that happened.
That is actually his name. We call him Mr. Manager around the office.
I'm Mr. Manager. I don't know why it says community manager, community manager. It should not. That is embarrassing.
For Katsurugi-san, I've always been terrible at Puzzle Fighter, but it doesn't stop me from trying. Good, you're awesome. Keep trying. You're gonna get better. I was terrible too one day when I was playing in the arcade as a kid, and you know, now I'm climbing the leaderboards just like everyone else. So you're gonna get there.
Yeah, and I'm decent at the game. I think I'm better than some people on the team. But when I first started, I was mostly focused on Dead Rising. That was the game that was coming out, and I was sitting by the Puzzle Fighter team. I don't know if you remember that back at the old building. They had the console set up with the game playing, and I could not understand what was going on. I would watch people playing, and I'd be like, what is going on? How is any of this happening? And, you know, just playing the last couple months, I've picked things up. I've gotten much better than I was. Yeah, so that is it from us here in Vancouver. We're going to leave you with the trailer that we opened with. Thank you all for playing. Thank you for joining us. And we'll be back.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks.
This is the path of my destiny.
Hi there, my name is Ian and I am a software engineer on Dead Rising 4. Here to continue sharing more exciting news on the new game mode we're working on called Capcom Heroes. Today we're announcing more outfits that Frank West will be able to wear in Capcom Heroes mode. This time focusing on the outfits from Capcom's classic fighting game franchise, Street Fighter. Without further ado, here come the new challengers. First, Mecha Zangief provides the mechanized muscle power for Frank. While wearing the outfit, Frank gets to perform Zangief's double lariat and pile driver moves. Next, we have the outfit for the classic Street Fighter villain, the dictator himself, M. Bison. Teleportation, Psycho Inferno, and Psycho Crusher moves will be the perfect weapon to combat the zombie horde. And Cammy, shown here performing her signature spiral arrow move. And making a return to the Dead Rising franchise with an alternative, hyper-manly look is Hot Ryu from Street Fighter V. Frank gets to perform the super iconic Shuriken and Tatsumaki Senpukyaku signature moves that should be familiar to most Capcom fans. Lastly, rounding out the 5th Street Fighter-inspired outfit for Capcom Heroes is the ever-iconic Akuma, who is a perfect match for any enemy when the Raging Demon is performed. Capcom Heroes mode is a free update for all current Dead Rising 4 owners. And on December 5th, for the PlayStation 4, Capcom Heroes mode is included free in Dead Rising 4, Frank's Big Package. So get ready to channel your inner Street Fighter as you combat the Dead Rising 4 zombie horde in the new Capcom Heroes mode.
This is the path of my destiny. Come on, let's turn up the heat.